back at it again. Are we live, baby? In living color. RIC in the place to be. We're on the air, correct, producer? That's good. Hey, it's been too long. Rick Saratella here telling it like it is when it comes to the NFL draft and everything football. And boy, oh boy, today we have a good one. Today's Thursday, April 21st, 2022. You know what that means? We are 1 week away from the 2022 NFL draft. You know how we do. Today's show brought to you by the NFLDraftBible.com on Sports Illustrated. This is the State of Football NFL Draft Edition, and we are 1 week away celebrating 20 years of excellence. The often imitated, never duplicated. And Samantha, I checked on the Twitter stream real quick. It looked like the feed was having some issues or difficulties, so just check that out while we get this show underway. We've got a good one lined up for you today off a hiatus, and I see the chat room lighting up, so big shout out to all our chat room peeps. It's been too long. Good to see you. And today we have Dane Vandernack, Executive Director from the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, joining us here at 10:05 Eastern time in just about 3 minutes or so. Derrius Guice, comeback season, full throttle, joining us here at 10:20 a.m. or so. He is fresh off his hub football workout, and we have the entire scouting report, the whole skinny up there on the NFLDraftBible.com. Derrius looking really good in pass catching drills, still showing that explosiveness. We're going to get the lowdown and the background with where things are since that workout. Oh, by the way, check out hubfootball.com. I see our Senior Vice President of Operations hanging out in the chat room, our good friend Tommy Goodhines. Been too long, brother. Good morning out there in Las Vegas, home of the 2022 NFL Draft, just 1 week from today. We'll also have our good friend Bo Marchionte, the NFL Draft Ninja, chiming in, who's just, he must have done about 200 interviews or so leading up here to the 2022 NFL Draft. We're going to find out who his personal faves are, some of his interview highlights, and some of those pro day risers during the draft process in case you missed them. There were so many, over 1,400 players on the board over at the NFLDraftBible.com. I'll try to drop the big board link into the chat room. The most accurate big board over the last 20 years when we go deep, baby. TJ Hammonds, Arkansas. Speaking of a pro day riser, kind of under the radar there. Traylon Burks, obviously getting all the shine out of Arkansas when it comes to wide receivers. Trey Knox, another player on the NFL radar. Well, how about TJ Hammonds? I'm going to talk to that young man at the back of the show. And oh, by the way, we'll get to that Deebo Samuel drama in just a second, but we do have an exclusive Jimmy Garoppolo interview that will air later today. The Prez, Zach Petra, holding it down. We'll go one-on-one with Jimmy G. Might not be as explosive as the Pierce Morgan, Donald Trump clips that we've seen everywhere, but Zach's going to ask him about the Deebo drama. He's going to try to see what he can find out about Jimmy Garoppolo's future and what that looks like as he rehabs from the throwing shoulder. Zach, by the way, if you're watching, make sure you ask him where he's at in that rehab process on with that surgery on the throwing shoulder. And man, there's so much to get to. There's also Devontae Wyatt rumors swirling around. Teams, according to internet reports, we shall call them, teams taking Devontae Wyatt, the Georgia defensive tackle, off their board entirely. Now, hat tip to my man, Jody Mack, who gave me the heads up. And I said, hey, I heard nothing of it. I checked in with 3 of my sources and have heard nothing of it whatsoever. However, there's multiple websites out there reporting that due to character concerns, Devontae Wyatt off teams' boards entirely. We're trying to track that down. No confirmation on our end as of yet. And we will keep you posted over at the NFLDraftBible.com. Big Law in the chat room. bringing it back. By the way, I forgot to tell everybody, we'll be live with the state of football all next week, including Football Friday with Big Law. Make sure you tune in there. We're going to have pre and post draft coverage. Albert Breer and myself will be holding it down over on SI.com for all your pre and post draft coverage. And hey, if you didn't go all access digital subscription yet, NFL Draft Bible, what are you waiting for? Over 600 scouting reports for 2022 and beyond. So check it out over at NFLDraftBible.com, part of the Fan Nation Network on Sports Illustrated. I mentioned the Hub Football Camp coming up May 7th. If you're a free agent, check that out, hubfootball.com. The first wave of accepted invitations will be going out this week. Very talented pool once again. And oh, by the way, check out our new site over at UConn Illustrated. That is si.com/college/UConn for all our latest news from our good buddy Jim Mora up there in Storrs, Connecticut. We got the spring game tomorrow night. NFL Draft Bible, or I shall say UConn Illustrated, will be on location across the nation. It's what we do. And speaking of what we do, nobody breaks down more players throughout the course of the year than this next man. He is the executive director of the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, the 10th annual NFLPA Collegiate Bowl this past January. There he is, Dane Vandernack. Good morning, Dane. How are you this morning?
Ricky, doing great, man. Great to be back on with you.
Oh man, it's been too long. It's been the workup, the build up, the hype. It's here. The NFL draft 1 week away. I can't believe it. And last time I got a chance to see it in person was out in Pasadena at the lovely Rose Bowl and all the great NFLPU facilities and events. And for those listeners tuning in, we're going to talk about some of those NFLPA Collegiate Bowl players that should be on your radar, guys that might be going on day 2, day 3 that you need to be aware of. Before we dive into it, give our listening audience at home, this will now be I believe our 4th year working together going into the 2020. It'll be 2023 NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. But tell the folks a little bit about the event, what it is we do, and what's coming up for the 2023 event.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously, as you said, we kicked off and we had our 10th annual game this past January. Obviously at the Rose Bowl, where we had nothing but the most beautiful weather, Rick. Come on, man. It was, mid-70s all week out there, sunny. I mean, the football gods shined on our ability to go out there and practice and have our game. And obviously, despite the pandemic and despite, some, restrictions that way, we still had a near flawless execution of the week. The NFLPA staff did a wonderful job really executing their strategy and keeping the guys safe, giving them a great experience. Got to hear from so many Hall of Famers and really get coached up and gain some knowledge, because obviously, Rick, our primary focus at the Collegiate Bowl is to get the best 115 or so players in front of the 32 NFL clubs so that they can evaluate, they can get the information they need, they can see these guys practice, they can interview them, the whole shebang, right? But the other part of it, and where the NFLPA comes in, is to provide that education, to get guys in front of them, right? Have Michael Vick come on and talk about facing adversity in life. Have guys like Rod Woodson and Jackie Slater, they're coaching the game, teaching and imparting some wisdom, their experience, etc. So it was another tremendous year. I think we had 350 scouts register, Rick, total for coming on out. Had obviously the bulk of them from the NFL. Then we had XFL, CFL, USFL. So all the major pro sports football leagues were out there interviewing the guys, talking to the guys, have full access. It's a one-of-a-kind type deal, first-class event all the way around.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, we're already full throttle into 2023. The process has already begun. We never leave a stone unturned. I always say the most diverse all-star game because you got players from FCS, D2, D3, HBCU, mid-majors, of course, the P5 well represented as well. And hey, because of that, some of our players from some of those small schools, you have the audio on there, Samantha, on that video, by the way. So because of that platform, guys like Gregory Jr. out of Ochita Baptist, Watch your time. There you go. You can tell I'm not from Arkansas, huh, Dane? And guys like the Missouri State defensive tackle Eric
Eric
Johnson.
Johnson.
I mean, this guy was a monster out in Pasadena, and what boy talk. Let's dive right into it, Dane. I wanted to get you on and talk about some of these guys that whose stock have just continued to rise since we departed Pasadena. Let's start right there with the big man in the middle because I know scouts were ranting and raving about this young man. Then he goes out and blows up the pro day. Hey, no combine, no problem. When you talk about, maybe a dozen or so players not invited to the combine who might be drafted, I think he's got as good a shot as any.
Oh, no question. And you know what? I mean, just real quick, I thought for fun I'd pull it up, Rick. We we already have our list of 2,426 players for next year. But, as we talk about this year, and obviously guys like Eric Johnson, who we're so fired up on, that was a perfect example of why guys ought to come out to our game because he came out, he had a phenomenal week. He showed his athleticism. He's got that desired size and length combination that NFL teams are going to covet and that they're going to want. And then we gave him the opportunity to compete against guys from somewhere other than the Missouri Valley Football Conference. So obviously, he took our opportunity. He parlayed that into a Senior Bowl opportunity. He was a combine snub, but he was able to still work out at his school, get good numbers up for scouts and the NFL teams to evaluate. They obviously have the film from the pro day, so he's easily one of our top players, I think, just because he has everything that you want. He's an outstanding human being. He's a 4-year starter, didn't miss a game in college. And then obviously, like we're talking about, he has the size, length, athleticism that teams are going to want. So there is nothing, about Eric Johnson that's going to scare teams away. And, so some team, in my opinion, is going to be very happy early day 3, perhaps even, day 2, depending on team need and positional fit.
No, it's possible. We're talking to Dane Vandernack, executive director of the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, former pro personnel director for the Oakland Raiders. And, people ask me all the time in the agent and coaching community, like, hey, what differentiates NFLPA Bowl from some of the All-Star games, right? And not necessarily saying that's better, but what differentiates us? Like a guy like Eric Johnson, he comes, we don't take as many players as some of the other All-Star games. So this guy got a lot of reps, a lot of one-on-one reps. And I always say that's where the cream rises to the top. And, he got a lot of first team reps. And I'm not sure if he went to another All-Star game, he would have gotten as many reps and gotten in front of as many NFL teams that way. The other thing is, hey, our coaching staff, you mentioned Jackie Slater and guys like Darrell Green. Kudos, shout out to Anthony Beck, who just got one of the XFL head coaching gigs and has been coaching with us out in Pasadena. Like, all these guys are tapped into the NFL. So they might not necessarily be NFL coaching staffs, but they are tapped in, dialed in. More importantly, they've all walked in those shoes that these players want to go. And whether it's Deion Sanders or Darrell Green or Jackie Slater, who I think could probably give me 10, 15 reps, Dane, if we needed a backup. He might still be, he is a fiery guy, but those are some of the things that make the NFLPA unique and really a first-class event, all the way from the food buffets or something that myself can appreciate. And any
Look forward
scout.
to that week every year just for that reason, Rick. If nothing else, man, we're going to get fed exceptionally well. And I'll tell you what, man, you saw Jackie Slater. So Jackie Slater, for those non-Southern Californians, right? Jackie Slater's on Channel 7 News every night doing the sports as a commentator, especially during football season. And I'm sitting there one of those nights out there, Rick, and it's like, man, we just watch these guys bust their ass all day. Jackie Slater out there coaching them up. I turn on the TV at night, and here's Jackie Slater on TV at like 10 p.m. now giving, a football color commentary, man. So Jackie Slater pulling in double time during the week of the NFLPA Bowl.
It doesn't surprise me though, because he's got the sickness for sure. He's got to be well into his 60s. Like, he doesn't need to be out there doing this. And I always tell the story of a couple years ago when I got I don't want to say stuck because it was a blessing, but I winded up next to Jackie and Bob Wiley, who will be on the show next week. We'll spend about an hour with Bob Wiley next week, and I learned more sitting in that hour or two conversation, listening to Jackie and Bob talk about offensive line than my whole entire life put together. And again, that's the knowledge and educational aspect, and you really do get coached up and leave a better player once you depart the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. I know you got a boogie, Dane. I want to get quickly here just your thoughts on inside the war rooms. We're 1 week from the NFL draft. It's smokescreen season. We're hearing a lot of rumors. All the pro days and combine are in the books. The whole process is done. You spent 10 years with the Oakland Raiders, a large part of that as a pro personnel director. Take us inside the war room quickly if you can. What are teams doing? Are they stacking their board still? Are they moving and shaking? What's going on in there?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, the boards are set. There's not a lot of new information that's going to come up unless it's a medical recheck and you're getting updated medical information from your team doctors. Excuse me. But for the most part, at this point in the process, for the 32 clubs, we've got our names up on the board. We've got the guys where we like them, and we're ready to rock and roll. Now it's just all right. Now it's a countdown, right? I know with Jack Del Rio's staff, we used to go golfing, the day before the draft, just to get some of the tension out and get a little team camaraderie and get the coaching staff and the personnel staff together out, just out of the building and not thinking about football for a little bit because that's all we've been doing up until this point. But right now the T's are crossed, the I's and lowercase J's are dotted. Rick, I think these teams are ready to go. Now it's just keeping your ears open, see if any new information is going to pop up somewhere, see if a team's going to talk. But teams are really discussing trades right about now, just trying to get a feel for, hey, is anyone interested in moving up? Is anyone interested in moving down? Are there any players that you may have available in case something does come up? So a lot of those types of conversations being had this week.
Yeah, I think just about every team is looking to move down in this year's draft, but it takes two to tango. Might be a difficulty task trying to find a trade partner. But Dane, always a blast, man. Appreciate the time. We're gonna do this thing again next Thursday to kick off NFL draft day. How do you feel about that?
Fire it up, man. I can't wait for the draft. Obviously, Rick, this is our, I mean, the bowl game itself is our Super Bowl, and this is like the icing on top. This is the cherry on top, man. I can't wait. I love the draft. If nothing else, I'm a huge fan come Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Man, it's Christmas time over here in April. That's Dane Vandernack, Executive Director of the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. Thank you so much, Dane. We'll chop it up next week.
Thanks, buddy. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And there you have it. A lot of information packed in a short period of time. That's what we do here on the State of Football. You're home for real football talk in the mornings. None of that powder puff fluff you see floating around on ESPN and NFL Network. This is the NFLDraftBible.com, part of the Fan Nation Network there on Sports Illustrated. Again, keep it locked to SI.com. Albert Breer and myself will have you covered pre and post draft. All the winners, all the losers, all the trades that Dane alluded to. And, a lot of talk about those New Orleans Saints now. I think they got 16 and 19 looking to move up to a quarterback slot. And we're looking, probably right around number 6. We're looking at you, Carolina. They've had every quarterback in for visits. Matt Rule recruited Kenny Pickett to Pittsburgh when he was at Temple before he left for the Baylor job. Kenny Pickett eventually winded up decommitting and going to Pittsburgh. But hey, did you know that David Tepper, the Panthers owner, is a Pittsburgh alumni and graduate? So I'll tell you what. Here's the dilemma, right? How much better is Kenny Pickett than Sam Darnold? That's a fair question. And so that's why I think at number 6, when you talk about the quarterback position, the Saints just moved up to acquire that second first-round pick, and they did it weeks before the draft. Typically, that's an indication they're looking at a quarterback. And I think Carolina at 6, if they don't like Kenny Pickett, I think the Panthers are the ones that could wheel and deal. Now, if the Panthers do pull the trigger on Pickett, and maybe it's Malik Willis, who knows, then the Giants suddenly at 7 could be getting some phone calls to leapfrog teams like the Atlanta Falcons, the Seattle Seahawks. Uh, there's rumors right down the parkway here in Philadelphia that are linking the Eagles to Malik Willis. They also have 2 first-round picks and a lot of draft equity. So I think you will start to see some trade movement there within the top 10 1 week from today as we count you down to the 2022 NFL draft. You're listening to The State of Football. This is Rick Saratella. Our 20th year anniversary over at the NFLDraftBible.com. Unbelievable to think since 2002. It's what we do. Taking it back to the theater at Madison Square Garden in the basement. What up, Stretch? Big shout out to Stretch in the chat room. John Karpinski, I see you there, John. Big shout out to Big Law. Big shout out to Tommy Goodhines. All my chat room people waking up with us here on this very morning. And we've got a really good interview lined up for you, Samantha. Can we cue up a quick promo break here? We're going to come back with Derrius Guice, fresh off his Hub football workout performance where he turned some heads. Some NFL teams have inquired. We're going to find out what his status is on the comeback season trail right after this.
You can't become an agent without passing the exam. We can help. We introduced our first practice test in 2012. Since then, we've added a study guide and a second exam, and we've helped hundreds pass a test that 55% fail. Our clients succeed at a rate 25% higher than others. For the cost of a plane ticket, you can buy our guide and take both our exams multiple times. Check us out.
Oh, we're back at it again. Rick Saratella here on location at the NFL Draft Bible headquarters. Samantha, behind the scenes, our super producer here, breaking it down for you today on this April 21st, 2022. It's the State of Football here on the NFL Draft Bible, part of the Fan Nation Network on Sports Illustrated. Counting you down to that NFL Draft 1 week from today. We just heard Dane Vandernack, the executive director of the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. We have Marchionte, the NFL Draft Ninja, coming up later on in the show, along with TJ Hammonds, the Arkansas wide receiver who tore up his pro day and is rising up draft boards. We'll talk to him later on in the show. But next up, we have a free agent that you all are very familiar with, coming out of LSU, a record-setting running back. You can argue one of the most illustrious careers in LSU history, a former second-round pick by the Washington Commanders. He joins us right now, Derrius Guice, here on the State of Football. Good morning, Darius. How are you today?
Good morning, Rick. How you doing, baby?
Doing good, man. Excited and pumped up to talk to you because, I'm looking at the NFL draft. There's rumors saying, hey, there's no running backs even going to go in the first round. And then obviously we got the Hub football workout where some free agents recently came through, such as yourself. And I'm looking at the big board and I'm saying, hey, well, Derrius here could help some teams. And in fact, he might be able to help some teams more than any of these guys coming out of the draft. What are your thoughts on that? How did you feel, by the way, getting out there in a competitive atmosphere? I wasn't there on site, but everything I heard and saw looked good.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good to get back out there, buddy. It's been a while since I did active stuff like that, workouts and drills and stuff like with a lot of people and people that are watching and evaluating. I didn't know what to expect when I got out there. I didn't know how much we were going to be doing, so I pretty much overloaded on a bunch of water and I was well hydrated because right about now I'm 232 pounds. I'm ready to go. I've been at it since the last time I played. I've been grinding. I'm in very good shape. I still feel very explosive. Obviously I haven't been playing competitively in 2 years, but I'm healthy. You know, last time I played, you know, I dealt with some injuries, some knee injuries and stuff. I'm healthy. Everything feels 100%. Obviously, I've had like a break, so you know my body's ready to go. Mentally, I'm ready to go. You know, this is my first love. You know, just want to get back to it. You know, any way I can. So just hope I can get another chance, brother.
Yeah, Derrius Guice, free agent running back here on the State of Football, part of the Fan Nation Network on Sports Illustrated, breaking it down. And if you're watching at home, you are seeing the highlights of Derrius at his Hub Football workout just 3 weeks ago. And you can go to hubfootball.com if you're a free agent out there and want to get into this May 7th workout coming up at next month. You can still do that. And you see the pass catching. I think that's the one thing that kept popping up when I talked to the folks and the scouts that were out there on site that kept saying, you know what? I don't know. He looked pretty good catching the ball out of the backfield. Is that something you've been working on in terms of your workouts and staying in shape, Derrius?
Well, when we got out there, that was one of the main things Coach wanted to focus on. He was like, you know, we know teams know you can run. You know, they've seen all these combine testing. You know, what teams really want to see, is pass catching. Like, what can he do besides run the ball? You know, how can we utilize this guy more in our offense? So, like, he really was pretty adamant and like pretty great about like, you know, yeah, y'all are gonna get some reps at receiver. Y'all are gonna be running routes. Like, we're gonna do 7-on-7 when we do these individual drills. We're gonna do work on screens and stuff. You know, obviously we did some, you know, cutting and running as well, but he really wanted to, you know, get us a lot of looks in catching the ball, which I'm really happy he did as well. And, you know, it's never really been an issue. You know, in college, obviously, we just never really threw the ball that much when I was there. You know, it happened a year later, but it's all
No, it
good.
was great
I
to
don't really have
showcase
much
that
footage
skill
catching the
set.
ball.
No, for sure. And you're talking about Hub head coach Jeep Christ, former NFL coach, current
Yes, sir.
Cal tight end coach. Yeah. And then, of course, the legendary Norm Chow was out there running the offense and working with you guys. And so a lot of NFL coaches out there in attendance working with you. They all had positive things to say. And listen, you know, you said 232. I think that's 7 pounds heavier than your combine weight, which was 3 or 4 years ago. So hey, nobody expected you to be in game shape. It's
Well, the thing
right.
with
It's
that
to be
is, so
expected.
when I last played, you know, I was with Jay Gruden still, and he wanted my like he wanted my weight at like 230 going into training camp. Because when I left LSU, I was 215, 218. So by the time, you know, the combine and pro day came, I'm still like, I actually weighed in at 230, at 233 at the combine, actually. So, because I was also on a lot of water weight then. So, like, my regular weight would have been like 225, but I weighed in at the combine at 233, you know, ran a 4.4. And then uh, when it was time for us to report for OTAs, I was like 222. Then Jay Gruden wanted me at 230. So, I've kind of been trying to stick around that weight for when I got back, you know. So, you know, the NFL is vicious. You know, I still want to stay kind of, I'm not going to say heavy, but like I want to keep that muscle mass. You know, I want to make sure I haven't lost it, because dealing with knee injuries, you lose a lot of muscle mass. So my whole thing these last 2 years has been like making sure I keep that up and make sure, you know, whenever the time comes, you know, teams don't have to worry about my weight. You know, they don't have to worry about my muscle mass, my conditioning. I'll just be ready, you know.
Well, I'll tell you what, it looked like you were still just as explosive, especially coming off that injury. So take us through, and we do get a lot of NFL teams and scouts who tune into the show. So take us through the rehab process and what that was like for you. And are you 90%? Are you 100%? Are you close to being 100%? Because I still saw the burst and explosion out there.
If we've been honest, I've been 100% since 2020, and we're like mid through 2022. You know, my last injury was 2019, more against the Green Bay Packers. I took a bad shot to the left knee, which was also the knee that I tore my ACL in 2 years prior. Just took an unlucky hit, you know, so I sprained my MCL on that. But when it was, you know, time for training camp, you know, the next year, I was, you know, 100% at training camp. Everything was good. Had a little minor hamstring injury, you know, just from a lot of overcompensation from knee injuries. You know, you kind of overload those legs. So I had a minor hamstring injury. That was 2020. Like my hamstrings have been 100%. My knees have been 100%. My cuts have been very effective and still pretty. Because when I plan, I'm a one cut running back. So like when I plan pretty hard. And like, you know, I've been testing that a lot. You know, I tested a lot at the hub camp, and like they're ready to go.
Hey, bro, you didn't even have pads on, and you got just a little bit of steam behind you, and I seen the DBs moving out of the way, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing you get into camp. I think you can really help a team, and I think you can help immediately. In fact, you know, we had an NFL team specifically request you out at the Hub football camp. I'll leave that unnamed, but I know the Hub football general manager, Mike Williams, who has NFL front office experience with the Seahawks, was out there. He said you came in, looked healthy, looked ready to go, had a great attitude. And that's something where you've kind of evolved with your career as well, coming to this showcase and showing a leadership mentality, being kind of, you know, some of these guys were overlooked during the COVID draft class. You being one of the veterans out there, take us through just kind of being in that position for a change, as opposed to coming into the league, young guy trying to prove yourself. Well, hey, a lot of these guys were out there trying to get to where you've been to. Right. What was that like for you?
Man, it was actually an honor, you know, because, you know, normally, you know, everywhere I've been, even in college, you know, playing behind Leonard Fournette, getting to Washington, you know, I got a guy like Chris Thompson, you know, Rob Kelly in front of me, then AP coming. So I've always been kind of the guy that was, you know, learning from the other guys. So that was like, you know, it was the first time I've ever been looked at, you know, as, I'm not going to say my first time being looked at as a leader, but like being like the veteran in the room, like to where like people are asking me for advice because I'm normally the one doing the asking. So it was awesome, man, you know, to share my experience, you know, in the league with them and like, you know, boost those guys up, tell them, hey, bro, it's not the end of the world, man, you know, because, you know, a lot of those guys did get screwed out with COVID. You know, they didn't have pro days, combines, none of that stuff. So a lot of guys, you know, got overlooked. You know, it was just a very like, it was an unfair, you know, time, you know, but like I told him, I'm like, bro, somebody's always watching. That's why I liked what the Hub did. Also, they had cameras everywhere. Like, so I was like, bro, like body language out here, like no bending over, like, bro, they're on you 100% of the time. Yeah. So, you know, I just had to keep telling them about body language and like, you know, always have great character. You never know when somebody's watching. You never know when somebody's like third party in a conversation. Like, I was just like, bro, stay positive. Like, you know, don't show them a weakness, you know, they can use it against you. You know, just stay ready, you know. So yes. it was pretty good, bro.
Spoken like a true veteran right there. And if you're watching at home, you see all the different camera angles. There's cameras everywhere. And that's one of the things. You want to eliminate yourself real quickly at one of these things? Show poor body language, right? I mean, right? That's it. The scouts are, you see the scouts scribbling in their notebook, right? Yeah. So, and everybody deals with adversity, right? You've obviously endured some adversity, and you did your little interview out at the Hub that went out to the NFL teams. But for the scouts at home, maybe there's some decision makers out there. Everything, you know, you want to clear the air here, and everything off the field is all cleared up. You're good to go legally,
yes, sir.
Right? And so, what do you want to tell the NFL teams out there?
I just feel like everybody deserves a second shot. You know, I know who I am. My family know who I am. I'm a great guy. I have the hugest heart. You know, my smile is very infectious. You know, I'm a great leader. I'm a guy that leads by example. You know, I've been off 2 years. You know, I'm still very anxious. Like I'm 24 years old. I'm still very young. Like I have a lot left in the tank. You know, I just need another shot. If anybody's watching, any team, scout, like I give this guy another shot. This guy won't let you down. Get this guy another shot.
Hey, RIC in a place to be, Rick Saratella. I'll co-sign that. From what I've seen, from what I've heard, you can go to NFLDraftBible.com, read the report, watch the video. It's all there for the taking. And we're going to send this interview to all the NFL teams as well. You mentioned the family life, Darius. How was your Easter, by the way? Did you have a good holiday?
It was awesome. Love seeing my little boy. He's almost 6 months. He's growing on me. Turned 6 months in 2 days. So just raising him has been a blast, you know. Been getting a lot of time with him, my family, you know. I've been back home in Louisiana, since I haven't been playing. So just been spending a lot of time with my family, man. I lost both of my grandparents though in February, so that was kind of a shot in the heart. But other than that, man, just getting time to be around my family, being around the people that know me, that know who I am, that care, that love me unconditionally, like has been like the best. It's been awesome. Couldn't ask for a better family.
Well, no, congrats on, the son, and that's a game changer and a blessing.
Yes,
I'm sorry to hear about your grandparents. I'm also sorry to hear about your former teammate, Dwayne Haskins, who I know you were tight with as well. It's been a rough year for a lot of us. I mean, I had a chance to talk to Dwayne at the Heisman Trophy ceremonies when he was coming out at Ohio State. You obviously played with him as a teammate and shared locker room and war room with him. I mean, tell us about him on a personal level, if you can.
Man, we used to go to each other's houses, man. He was one of those guys. He always boosted everyone's energy around. Like we really shared that personality trait. And he was just one of those guys. He just wanted to be better. Like every day he woke up, he wanted to be better. Like it didn't matter if when he got to Washington, people were overlooking him or saying he wasn't ready. Like, man, he didn't even take that as an insult. He took that as a challenge. Like I remember every day in the spring, even during OTAs before they started, after them, like every day we were out there grinding, like all of us. Like he always texted all of us, in a group chat, hey, I want to get some work in today. Like he was one of those guys. He was willing, he was a leader, like he was willing to work every day. It didn't matter what time it was. If even one of us texted him, like he's ready to go, like what time, where at, like he was one of those guys. Like he always had a smile on his face when you saw him. Nothing ever seemed to really get to him. Obviously we deal with our own stuff behind the scenes, but like when he was out and about, the happiest guy you'll know, always got a smile on his face, a lot of energy. So that's my guy. I'm going to miss him. Rest in peace, Simba. I'm going to miss you, bro.
Yeah, born in New Jersey right here. Yeah. And it seems like that's a sentiment that all of his teammates share, exactly what you just said. And in fact, he was down in Florida working with teammates in the offseason. Yeah. That's what he was doing down there, trying to get better. So rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins. Definitely going to miss you. And last one for you, Darius, before we let you go, because we are 1 week away from the 2022 NFL draft.
Yeah.
Not too long ago.
A lot of people's lives going to be changed, bro.
Man, so take us through your NFL draft day experience, that phone call. What was it like for you? Where were you? Who was on the other end? Take us through that moment.
Well, so I don't know if you knew or not, but I was projected first round, so I was actually in Dallas in the green room, expecting a phone call that day and to get drafted. Obviously, I regret to inform it didn't happen that day, So Mr. Goodell, Roger Goodell, actually invited me back to the green room the next day, but I politely declined. I didn't want to go back, I didn't want to experience, that pain 2 days in a row in the green room, and just get disappointed again. So I actually just spent all that time with my family. We actually found a local bar. Actually, we were watching, the whole round two. I'm sitting there with my family, what's going through my mind. I was like, dang, it's going to be another day. I don't get called. Like, what's going on? Like, what went wrong? Like, what's happening? And I just, couldn't really put into words or like fathom what was going on. And then phone rung. I'm outside, like my head was down, and I was like outside in tears. Like I left everybody. Like when it got to like the middle of round two, I'm just outside crying. Like, I just had this great college career. I didn't have any off the field issues like in college or my whole life. Like what's going on? I was projected first round. Like I'm outside just going through a million things in my head on what's going wrong. And I get that phone call, and my agent just happened to be walking up as I was getting the phone call, and it was Washington, and I was on the phone with Bruce Allen, Dan Snyder, and they're like asking me how I'm feeling, and like I had to like change my whole demeanor within 5 seconds from crying to say, hey, I'm doing good, coach. Like, what's up? And I remember them asking me if I wanted to be a Redskin. You know, at the time, the Redskins still not in the Commanders. They were asking me if I wanted to be a Redskin. And I'm just like, fuck yeah. Like, I've been waiting on this. Like, I was waiting on y'all round one. Like, what took y'all so long? And man, like, you know, next thing you know, Dan told me they were sending a plane right over to pick me up, you know, and the rest was history. I got off the phone, my whole family there. Like, I was like in awe, popped a bottle. Like it was awesome. It was the best feeling to be around my whole family in that moment, because obviously all of them couldn't be in the green room. So like just being with everybody, like outside of that, like that was the best experience with it. Everybody got to experience it with me. It was like a bunch of raw emotion. Obviously my face was like just drowning in tears. Like it was just one of those moments. It just felt like a big weight got lifted off my shoulders, man. You know, all the hard work I put in since I was 5 years old paid off. You know, it was one of those moments.
All the blood, sweat, and tears throughout all the years, right?
Tears, brother.
And that was a long wait on the second day too, because it was, I think, 59th overall, 5 picks away from the end of the second round. So you're over there thinking, oh man, we might be moving.
We might be round 3-4. Like, what is going on right now?
That's a great story, though. Hey, Derrius, man, I can't thank you enough for taking the time here to join us. And I'm so
thank you, buddy. Like, thank you for having me. Like, this means so much to me. I appreciate you.
Nah, man, you know, that's what we do here on the State of Football. We chop it up, we break it down. By the way, it's your new home for real football talk in the morning. This is what we do. We break it down real life. And I'm just happy we got a chance to kind of tell your story out there to the masses. And if you're just tuning in, Derrius Guice here, former second-round pick, fresh off his Hub Football workout performance. We're going to post this up on the NFLDraftBible.com, part of the Fan Nation Network on Sports Illustrated. We'll post this interview in its entirety. We'll have some clips out there on the social media, of course, floating around. And I'm a firm believer, Derrius, that, you know, I don't know if it's going to happen this summer, but come August, there's going to be a team out there looking for a running back, and there's not a better one on the market than yourself, my friend. So,
and the last thing I gotta say to them, whenever y'all decide, I will be waiting, and absolutely. I will be ready.
Hey, that New Orleans airport, not too far from where he's sitting.
Not far at all. I'll be there in 20 minutes.
Let's get him that ticket, and hopefully it's right here up in Jersey. I'll take you out for some good food if you come to.
It's actually just out there. I was in Hoboken.
Oh man, you gotta let me know, Moody,
bro. He's with the Knicks Gaming. He just actually got signed with the Knicks 2K Gaming. I don't know if you're aware.
Yeah,
he just got signed with the Knicks 2K Gaming League. He was with the Lakers. Now he's an assistant coach with the Knicks. He just got signed out there. So I went out there, you know, to spend a weekend with him. His first week.
Very
it was
cool.
Awesome. It was awesome.
Are you a gamer?
Huge gamer. I'm my whole setup is right here. My PC, monitors.
Bro, we're launching Esports Illustrated on Sports Illustrated.
I'm actually going to start my own team.
All right. So, Samantha, make sure you chat with Derrius offline. We're launching the esports website on Sports Illustrated. We want to get you involved with it. We'll feature your team. Great. Yeah, we'll get on location. Where's the team going to be based?
Louisiana.
Wait, we're breaking news right now. Derrius Guice is going to have an esports team. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Yes, sir. Gotta keep
going. Man, we're gonna have you back on the esports show.
They got so many great players around here, like that people don't know about, because, like, you know, it's Louisiana. You know, all the people that get signed to Face Clan and Optic, these big, you know, teams, they overlook all of. You know, I'm gonna be the team. We're gonna get these no-name prospects going. Like, you know, like everybody started somewhere. I feel like
we're gonna do it. We're gonna do pro days, combines, the whole deal. No, we're bringing it to
comers. Forget they had to start from somewhere. You know, you got to help the people under you out. You know.
All right, so listen, we're gonna bring esports to the mainstream on Sports Illustrated. We'll talk offline about that. Yes, in the meantime, who's your agent, by the way, so the teams know?
Peter Van Guntart. Young money.
Right. So in the meantime, you know, Peter, myself, we'll get to work. We got to see you playing on Sundays again. We'll talk more offline. I know I kept you longer than I should have here, but man, what a great interview. What a great experience. And Derrius, we'll be in touch, man. Thank you so much.
Awesome, Rick. Thank you, baby.
All right, appreciate there you have it. Straight from the horse's mouth. Derrius Guice, former second-round pick. He's ready. Not now, like yesterday. Sign the man up. Go to NFLDraftBible.com. His scouting report's up there. His film is up there. If you're an NFL team, you need that film package, Samantha will send it to you direct. Let us know. Whew, man. We're on fire over here on the State of Football. Thursday, April 21st. It's our return 1 week away from the 2022 NFL Draft. We're already on 2023 at the NFL Draft Bible. Did you go all access? Did you sign up? Did you unlock the magic? Go all access over at the NFLDraftBible.com. Save 20%. Get a 1-year subscription to Sports Illustrated, the magazine, and then gain access to 600 plus scouting reports for 2022 and beyond. Sounds like a bargain to me. We mentioned Christmas in April. It's happening right now on the NFLDraftBible.com, part of the Fan Nation Network on Sports Illustrated. You were just listening to Derrius Guice. We had former Oakland Raiders pro personnel director and current NFLPA Collegiate Bowl executive director Dane Vandernack. Later on in the show, we're going to have TJ Hammonds out of Arkansas. But first, we welcome in the NFL Draft Ninja. He's been working with us now for well over a decade. He is Bo Marchionte joining us now on the hotline. Good morning, Bo, over there in Ohio. Are you in Ohio this morning?
I am in Ohio, you beautiful creature, you. Darius as well.
Not as beautiful as you with the flowing locks. I mean, what do we got going on here?
Yeah, I didn't want a man bun it today, so I just figured I'd throw on the cap because if I took it off, I look like a savage Tarzan. So
Bo is the man of many looks. He can rock the man bun. He can rock the Punky Brewster ponytails if you ask him to. Right? I mean, he can do it. He's versatile. He's a jackknife. Don't get shy on us now, Bo.
Hey, listen, no, I wish that was.
He's not denying it.
It's a struggle, Rick. I ain't gonna lie. It's a struggle every day. It's harder and harder. But listen, thanks for letting me come on. You know as well as I do, it is Christmas for us. I mean, how young kids feel when they're waiting for Santa Claus to bring those gifts. I think that's how we feel as well. I mean, next Thursday, Las Vegas, April 28th through the 30th when things get underway. And you know as well as anybody, this particular draft, so many unknowns. Usually the quarterbacks already have the first class tickets, but they're flying economy like everybody else this year. So
yeah,
I'll ride.
If you're Kenny Pickett, you're right on the bus with me. True story, by the way. We'll get into it. And I know you've got a lot of stories because you've conducted probably a couple hundred of these interviews now. Before we dive into it, though, just for the listening audience at home, what is the consecutive streak at the Lou Gehrig running streak, by the way? Fill our audience in on what you do. Come
on. I do love running, and I think it's the 92nd longest active running streak in the world.
92nd?
92nd.
Oh, so, bro, we got to get you up the big board. What's the problem here?
You know what? Well, God has only given me so many days so far, so it's a day-by-day process. So I'm 50. So almost more than half my life, the streak has started. Thankfully, knock on wood.
How many days are we at?
I think like 8,850 or 60. It started in 98, so January 4th of 98. So, but right. I don't know
every single day since 98. And this is no joke because I'm not even kidding. It'll be snowing in Indianapolis at the combine. I see Bo Marchionte running around Lucas Oil State in gym shorts and t-shirt. So how far? Who's the number one guy? How far do we got to get?
Another 25 years. So if I'm going to.
All right. All right. We got time then. Time is on our side.
It's one of those things you can't get ahead unless you started when you're like 10 years old. And you know what I mean? It's one of those type of things where, normal people on the, this list, if you're up there, you're up there because you're up there in age and you're up there in, the higher tier, if you will. But hey,
I got to say, the smart money's on Bo Marchionte.
Yeah.
I got Bo. So what do you know? NFL Draft Bible, the Ninja, Full Effect, collegetopro.com, all the great interviews. We try to syndicate a lot of them on the NFLDraftBible.com as well. You've interviewed thousands upon thousands of players since you and I have gotten together. Let's talk about some of your favorites from this year and dive in. Let's start there. Give us a couple guys that just kind of stood out to you. I mean, I do the interview thing too. There's always a couple guys that just like, man, that dude was legit. I draft him based on his personality, as funny as it sounds. But if you got talent and you got a great personality, you can play for Rick any day of the week. Tell me, who are some of those guys, Bo?
Yeah, Rick, I think you bring up a great thing. I mean, we all love watching tape or film of guys that, there's also the process of getting to go these guys on an individual level and find out their personalities. And, as well as I do in all the shows, you do get that sense of where these guys come from, and the little things. And, as well, I mean, like, hey, we got a show scheduled for 5:30 today and the kid misses the call. That's a big thing. It might not be something that they think about. But hey, you know what? We're dialed in with people too. So hey, you know what? Okay, no problem. Something happened. Let's work on tomorrow. And tomorrow you don't call. That's a problem. But this year, I think every kid was so polite and thankful. When you told me, get some names down, I couldn't do it. I was like, I felt bad. But kid we recently had on, and he's not an unknown, but I think Kennedy Brooks, the running back out of Oklahoma, he averaged 7 yards per carry. 3,000 yard seasons, and Lincoln Riley's air raid offense via Mike Leach. I think he's a day 3 sleeper, one of those guys on the fringe that, the production's there, the size is there. I like him. If we want to go a little bit more crazier, Bo Melton, him, Rutgers.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
I think he's a kid. I mean, played as a true freshman and just kind of built his resume up there. Now people are like, well, these guys are kind of from big schools, so now we're going to start to dial it back a little bit. One kid, and I'm throwing this out for you because I know you're going to like it. Bernard Buhaki. He's that D3, that JUCO type kid. And it made me think of Larry Bracken's Pearl River. You know that, Rick. You know Pearl River.
Yeah.
Community college, Larry Bracken's the receiver, 2005.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know what I'm talking, that language there. But
I love it.
7-foot wingspan, 6'6", 251. He played 8 games this past year. In those 8 games, he had 7 sacks and 16 tackles for loss. And he comes from St. Ambrose, the Fighting Bees. So he's one of those really, really off-the-wall guys, but nonetheless, one of those guys that diamonds in the rough.
Is Craig T. Smith out there? Because Craig T., we got a guy for you there.
Yes, sir. And then Cole Thurnis. This is like the Caucasian Hines Ward, if you will. This is a thick-bodied receiver. Chadron State. He had a great pro day. I know NFL teams are interested in terms of just communicating and reaching out to him. So we're not saying he's going in the first round, and he's going to have the Learjet pick him up privately. But so I think Cole Thurnis, Chadron State, like I said, that Hines Ward type. There's so many, Rick. I could go on and on. The Merrimack quarterback, much of Weston Elliott, 6'5", 230. He'll probably be a camp guy, and if he gets, if he shows his stuff, be a guy that can kind of, stay in the loop. Robert Morris, tight end. Marcus Adamilola, his brothers Jason and Justin, they're at Notre Dame. He was ranked with, I think, Mike Krzyzewski from Penn State and David Njoku out of Miami, going through that prospect, thing. So a kid kind of off the radar, but nonetheless, as well as I do, it doesn't matter where you start, it's where you finish. So those are just some of a few. And listen, I could go on and on. There's just so many of those weird little prospects out there that you love. And, draft day rolls around, day 3 ends, and then, that college undrafted priority free agent process begins. And I think a lot of these guys will be on the fringes there.
That's what I live for, man. That's what you get at collegetopro.com, NFLDraftBible.com, Bo Marchionte with RIC, and a place to be here at the great island of the New Jersey shore. And we're talking real football talk here. And you say Chadron, I say Chadron. You brought up Weston Elliott, who I'm a fan of, out of Merrimack. The transfer comes out, 6'5", gunslinger. Speaking of personality, I haven't had a chance to listen to your interview with Weston Elliott yet, but I will make that must see because I've had a chance to meet Weston, and he is a quirky personality, but he's an even better talent on the field. He's got a cannon of an arm. He'll take some chances. He'll take some risks, but hey, that's what he had to do there at Merrimack. And I think if you're looking for a developmental quarterback, I know a lot of scouts didn't make it out to the Merrimack Pro Day. Don't judge this kid by the label on the helmet now. He can play now. And I'm looking forward. I hope he does get into a camp because I agree. I think he's probably going to get a tryout following the draft. And I'll tell you what, once he gets that tryout, though, he's going to be a hard guy to cut. I don't want to sidetrack too much. We're 1 week from the NFL draft. We got TJ Hammonds out of Arkansas coming up in just a bit. We had Dane Vandernack on earlier. He mentioned the USFL and the spring ball, Bo. And as I'm talking about Weston Elliott, Luis Perez comes to mind because Luis Perez tore up the Alliance League, the XFL. He came out to the Hub football, looked outstanding. In fact, Southwestern College or University is where he played ball, I think, before he transferred to or went to Texas A&M Commerce. But man, obviously as someone who works in football and a football fan, I love the fact that the USFL is up and running. I do have my beefs and complaints about it. I'll save the negativity for my living room conversations. But have you seen the USFL? What are your thoughts and impressions? Do you like it? What have you seen thus far?
Yeah, you know what, I like it. And I think we fall in the same boat where just seeing these kids have another opportunity to continue what they love doing, and that's playing the game of football. And, the ultimate goal is to play in the National Football League. But if that's not where you're at and you can suit them up and still do what you love to do, kudos. I hope this survives. I do just think like the old USFL, though, you really have to draw that manpower, those star names. And it's going to be hard, I think, for them to gather that type of momentum from people that can't make the league. We know Jim Kelly, Steve Young, Herschel Walker, all those big names, Reggie White, Gary Clark. Those guys are all USL guys back in the day. I think it's important that they kind of get that manpower. And Luis Perez, it's so funny you brought him up because I was actually texting with him over the weekend, just talking about, congratulations. It's so nice to kind of see you get your shot and just kind of continue to do what they love to do. And Rick, I keep saying this, but we've been doing this and we work with so many guys in that area of guys that are on the fringe of the NFL, their CFL, USFL, whatever leagues that are out there. And I just think any opportunity to kind of help these guys keep that dream alive and let them do what they do. And you never know if you get hot. Who was it? The Carolina quarterback, PJ Walker. He had that stardom in the league, and then lo and behold, he played so well that it got him another shot in the NFL, and he resides as a backup with the Panthers. So if you can make it happen, that brief glimpse, you got it. You're going to find yourself knocking at the door of the National Football League, my friend.
Well, and I think that's the thing too, is like a guy like Luis Perez, who I think he started playing the game of football in high school, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, he just needs the reps, right? And everywhere he goes, he excels. But you got to keep playing, just like Kurt Warner needed to develop, just like you mentioned Jim Kelly and Warren Moon. I think, Bo, what happened is they allocated the money in the wrong place. They got all these, somebody commented, a lot of big name talent, just not on the field. And they were referring to the coaches.
Right.
Now you splurged on the coaches. Hey, why not pony up, throw a couple bucks Colin Kaepernick's way? Let's get Timmy Tebow and Johnny Manziel over here. Let's get that, let's upgrade from the Paxton Lynches, huh? I mean,
no, I'm so glad you brought that up. That's a great point because it's the nostalgic type atmosphere. I mean, there are so many things out there for people, society to spend their money on. You work hard, you want to go enjoy an event, and I know they're making a very, accommodation in terms of $10 tickets, kids get in free. But even at the end of the day, I mean, if there's not a good product on the field, you could take that $10 and go see a Marvel's movie or some other thing where an avenue presents itself. And I think if you're out there spending money and people are trying to demand your dollars, you got to really knock their socks off. And, I laughed, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but what was it, the XFL or the AFL, the one that just shut down? I mean, Landry, the quarterback that backed up the Steelers, he was the face of the league. I'm like, this
Landry
this guy,
Jones, yeah.
Yeah. So I just thought, this guy cannot make it with the Steelers as a backup.
Yeah, I think him and Zach Mettenberger.
So it's crazy, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, hey, if you're watching USFL, it's not too late to save yourselves. Get at me, RIC at NFLDraftBible.com. We can help you out. We can take it to where you need to be. Trust me when I tell you. All right, Bo, we're waiting for TJ Hammonds to get here. I know you've got to boogie on out of here. Anything else you want to cover? Anything you want to discuss? How's life?
Good, blessed. I texted you guys Easter morning. I saw your beautiful water.
Thank you.
Yeah. You Sam, I tell you, and I got the beautiful shot back of the did she do an Easter egg hunt? I saw it with the Easter eggs.
We did some Easter egg hunts. In fact, I could probably count on one hand how many people wished me happy Easter, and I'm not begrudging anybody because I didn't have time to wish anyone a happy Easter. But I did respond back to the people who wished me happy Easter. The Ninja was one of them. How many years has it been now, Bo?
Oh man, we've been doing this a long time. I even thought when you said it, I mean, it's been very near the beginning of the NFL Draft Bible. It wasn't long.
There's one book I still don't have in possession, and I think you have a copy of it. I can't remember if it's like 2008 or 2009.
Yeah, I have it.
I was like Bo Marchionte is probably like got this somewhere on a bookshelf, but it's been a fun ride.
You know what? I thought about it right when you and Derrius Guice were wrapping up. I go, I need to go grab the books, and then I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm coming on. So the last thing I did was want to run, leave the screen, and come back. Do you want me to mail it to you? Because it kind of breaks my heart.
I'm trying to pin down the year, but it might be like circa 2009. But I just remember like going back. To like you were all over Selvin Young, I remember coming out of Texas, and he went on. I think he rushed for like 1,000 yards his rookie year, right?
I think so. That's the fun part. I mean, I'm still not over Taylor Mays. Man, there's just certain things I just never get past. It's just one of those things. Hey, now you're lucky. I love you. I might put that Draft Bible book on eBay and let the bidders.
I'll buy it. I'll be the first one to buy it. In fact, that's how I reacquired a couple of them. I actually bought them back on eBay.
You're gonna have to tell me what year, because I have them all. But if that's the one you're missing, I think it's only.
And Stretch in the chat room. There's Stretches in the chat room. He's still got the Draft Bible autographed by Rob Gronkowski from that draft.
That's nice.
The draft party that year, and Stretch was the bouncer. He was working the door. And we had the Gronkowskis at our draft party, and they start doing the Gronk dance like they did at the stage in the draft. They start doing that at the bar, on top of the bar. And then some of the young women there in New York City at the time started taking their clothes off. We have it on camera somewhere. Those are the lost archives.
Hey, and just thinking of, I don't know how off topic, but do you remember? It was probably had to be 10 years ago. We had some guy on. And he wanted you to fly Chad Johnson to his house to do an interview or something. Do you remember that?
No.
It was like, and this is Ocho Cinco in his prime. And I remember he was like, well, what are your ideas? And I remember you were like, so you want us to fly Chad Johnson to your house? He's like, yeah, we could do an interview in my room. And I remember you were courteous to him. And you were totally like, hey, you know what? Well, we'll think about it. Good idea. You're totally, hey, not. And then I remember afterwards, we're like, what's this guy thinking? Yeah, we're going to fly out to Nico. Like, hey, Chad, yeah. Hey, you're going to Joe's house at, 13 Mary Lane, and sit in his bedroom and do an interview if you don't mind.
Well, what I take away from that story, Bo, is I was a little bit more level-headed in my younger days.
I love it.
Craig T. Smith finally chiming in. Good morning, Craig. You're late to the party. We had a player for you. Hit him with that prospect again, Bo.
Which prospects? All of them. Or what?
The one I couldn't pronounce. 7 games, 8 sacks.
Oh,
St. Augustine.
Bernard Buhaki, St. Ambrose Fighting Bees, 7-foot wingspan, 6'6", 251, 8 games, 7 sacks, 16 tackles for loss. So I'd say like he's that Larry Brackens of the 2022 draft, that crazy unknown, but nonetheless, you could tell I've been feeding him the Ted and Danny at the Blue Bombers heavy. So
He's working for the other side. There you go, Craig. There's a free one for you. We're chopping it up. We're breaking it down. Bo Marchionte, the draft ninja, who also does some scouting for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Oh, by the way, how many hats? You see him with the beanie, the Goopalini? He's got 20 hats in the back closet. Don't worry about it. It's Bo Marchionte, the draft ninja. What's the parting shot for the people out here today? What do you want to tell the good listening audience at home here, Bo?
Hey, first of all, stay safe, everybody out there. Rick, I love you. You're doing a great job. Appreciate you having me on this morning. And everyone, buckle up. Next Thursday, it's going to be a wild ride. I always joke around with the quarterbacks. I think everybody knows that this quarterback class isn't what we're used to. But as the old saying goes, at 10 o'clock, they look like twos, and at 2 o'clock, they look like tens. And I think that'll be the way we go on draft night with these quarterbacks. I think they're going to go a little bit higher than we perceive.
Your clock in Ohio must be broken, Bo, because my clock here always says 5 o'clock. I don't know. But hey, let's do it again next week. We'd love to have you back next Thursday if you're available, and we'll chop it up and break it down. That's Bo Marchionte, everybody.
Up to you and the fam. Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Bo. Man, my brother from another mother, Bo Marchionte there. We're hoping to have TJ Hammonds up here next. In the meantime, or in between time, let's reset. This is Thursday, April 21st, 2022. Not like my whiteboard says, no joke, it says 2002. That's because it's the 20-year anniversary, 2 decades of excellence. It's on my mind since 2002. It's what we do. NFLDraftBible.com. Go check us out. If you haven't gone all access, we got the NFL Draft Bible digital guide. I think it's somewhere around $60 for the year, and you'll unlock 600 scouting reports for 2022 and beyond. You also get a free, not a free, but it comes with a 1-year subscription to Sports Illustrated, the magazine. And I think if you subscribe today, there it is. Boom, you'll save 20%. So there you go, $5.83 a month if you want to help support the cause here at the NFLDraftBible.com. Your $5.83, half of which will go to Sports Illustrated. The other half will go to Bo Marchionte so he can travel and do more pro days and all-star games and interviews and bring you the names you need to know. So hop on board with it. We appreciate all the love and support throughout all the years. And oh, by the way, we have a new website, Yukon Illustrated. If you're not familiar with it, check it out. Our good friend, head coach Jim Mora, changing the culture there in stores. So check us out, si.com/college/Yukon. There it is, Samantha. Good job there behind the scenes. Also, esports coming to Sports Illustrated. You heard Derrius Guice is going to own a team. We'll have that story on the esports side of things coming this summer. And hubfootball.com is coming back around again, May 7th. If you're a street free agent, if you want to get in front of NFL teams, scouts in attendance, over 100 years of NFL coaching experience at the Hub football camps, guys like Jeep Christ, Norm Chow, Eugene Chung, Sam Anno, who does a great job with the D-line and linebackers, Derek Gardner with the defensive backs. You got Don Yee himself hanging around, who's well tapped into the NFL community, to say the least. Mike Williams, the former NFL executive, of course, Tom Goodhines in the chat room, NFL Draft Bible Familia, Zach Petraw, who, oh, by the way, is chatting it up with Jimmy Garoppolo right now as we speak. We're going to have that exclusive for you over at the NFLDraftBible.com. We're going to find out what's going on with Deebo Samuel, what's going on with Jimmy G's future, what's going on with that throwing shoulder that he's working on coming back from surgery. And we are going to have to reschedule TJ Hammonds talking to his agent as we speak. Big shout out to Michael Langley, friend and familia. So we'll work on rescheduling TJ Hammonds. All love, my brother. I know he had a workout this morning and he's getting it in, so we'll save TJ for next week. Oh, by the way, we'll be live every day in your living room in living color. We still got some of these hotel signs here at the Jersey Shore that haven't changed since the 70s. Color TV and cable. We still got the neon signs here at the Jersey Shore. I'll be in your living room in color if you have internet. If not, man, let's get with it. 2022, 2 decades celebrating independent scouting analysis on the NFLDraftBible.com. Some of the guests we're still working on firming them up, but some of the guests we'll have on include Bob Wiley. We'll have Brian Baldinger on. Hopefully we'll have some of the NFL alumni guys on like we did last year, Bart Oates, Beasley Reese. We're hoping to get some of these NFL draft prospects on for you. We'll have Dane Vandernack back next week, or hopefully have Neil Stratton along with Bo next Thursday for the trifecta. We have a special guest to close out the show. Come around this way. We're going to be back next week. Stay tuned for Football Fridays. We got Oceana's, whose birthday was just, 15 days ago.
The Barbie Dream House and the Galley Doll House.
Yep.
And a hug. Kiss, kiss, kiss.
You got Gabby Doll House,
And
Barbie Dream House.
I got everything.
You got everything for your birthday, huh?
Yeah.
And you had an Easter egg hunt. How many Easter egg hunts did you have?
I got 10.
10? Madonna me. And you've got another play date coming up with Ariel, right?
Yeah.
What do you want to tell Ariel out there?
If I have a sleepover with her,
No, you're too young.
Yeah, but if I have a sleepover with her, I need to meet her mom, Bigami, Ariel, and her mom a little more.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you got quite a few years to go until the sleepover, but we'll take you on that play date. Maybe we'll do some trampolines.
Yeah.
This was the State of Football. We'll be back at it Monday with our guy Ralph Entry. We're hoping to have Craig Haley on Monday. We might even have an Emery Hunt sighting. We got Anthony Budd from Monmouth coming on Monday's show. What do you want to tell the listening audience at home, Oceana?
At home is everything.
All right, we'll see you next week, everybody. Have a great weekend. Peace out. All right,
Bye,
baby. Bye. Back to Barbie Dream House.
I think I'm going to destroy.
Okay.